to introduce our first speaker, Ms. Rasika ma'am. Our first speaker, who is also an Honorable Administrative Member of this Tribunal, Honorable Justice Ms. Rasika Chaube ma'am, who is an alumna of Isabella Thoban College, Lucknow, holds a postgraduate degree in psychology and an MPhil from Annamala University. She joined the civil services in 1986 at the young age of 23 and retired as financial advisor, Defense Services. Also held additional charge as Controller General of Defense Accounts from October 2022 to September 2023. She has served as Joint Secretary and Financial Advisor to two Honorable Presidents of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Sir and Ms. Pratibha Devi Singh Patil, and as Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Steel, an alumnus of 53rd National Defence College. Ma'am has played a key role in defence procurement and reforms, chaired major initiatives including International Conference on Defence Finance and Economics 2023, and led transformational changes in audit and payment systems. She is the first FA DS to receive an extension beyond superannuation and has a keen interest in art and culture. We are all very excited to hear and learn from the insights that ma'am would give today. Please, ma'am, please bend the dice.
Respected Chairperson, sir, respected judicial members, administrative members, speaker for the day, and and members of the 80 Bar Association, the young advocates from India celebrating, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Honorable for asking me to speak here. And the topic you've chosen for me is familiarization with the Defence Account Department, or to which I belong to, and also talk about SPARSH, which is an area which interests most of us because we deal with it day in day out. I'll make it short, but I'll definitely try to make it interesting for you. Though finance is not a subject which really would be very interesting for most of you. See, Defence Account Department is one of the oldest departments of the government. The Defence Account Department is one of the oldest departments of the Government of India, which was made in 1757. It's more, and it is one of the oldest and most computerized departments in the Government of India, for which we have been awarded many times. Now, what exactly, how we function is, we have, our role has been evolving since when we started in 1757. We were basically payment and accounting agency. Over a period of time, we have now become auditing agency. We do internal audit, we do external audit. We've also become financial advisors to all the defense services, and we at lower levels as well as the higher level. And we also have taken full-fledged pension payment. And as time has flown, you are all aware that earlier most of the things used to be imported in the country. Now with Atmanirbharta becoming a norm, I think mic is not working. With Atmanirbharta becoming a norm, we have started realizing that the defense is starting to impact the defense economy of the country. Earlier, whatever we were purchasing for the defense used to be imported. As a result, the money spent used to go outside the country. Now, 95% of the expenditure for acquisition is happening within the country. Navy is a living example. They're spending most of the ship constructions taking place. So now what is happening is that because of this, the defense is contributing to the economy in a big way. We are causing employment generation, contributing to the GDP, because of which the role of the defense accounts has changed. We have moved from payment to account to finance to defense finance. The main, and apart from that, the Controller of Defense account looks after all the services. Initially, we started with Army, Navy, Air Force. Now we are looking after the Coast Guard, the Border Road, we are looking after the MES, the CSD, and I think the DRDO. So we have a huge setup which caters for that. So the numbers are not very large. We are 25,000 of us, and the officers are only 564 or 570. All these officers are selected through the UPSC, through the Civil Services exam. Most of you would be aware that there are 17 civil services, Group A services, and there are 5 account services, one being P&T accounts, civil accounts, railway accounts, defense accounts, and auditing accounts. We are one of them. So this is we have, and our officers, apart from looking after the responsibility of the defense forces, we also go on deputation to various places. Like I myself have been in Rashtrapati Bhavan, people go to Ministry of Commerce, all the ministries more or less get represented by officers. So there's a huge learning experience and the learning curve which we all go through and which we carry with us. Now to look after this, we have a big set of offices. There are 7 commands of the army, for which we have 14 offices, which are dedicated to looking after the army officers. There are 7 commands for the Air Force. For them, because the numbers are low, we have 2 big major offices, which are called the principal controllers of defense account. Then we have for the Navy, again, there are 4 commands, we have 2 offices. And similarly, we have various number of offices. We have 30 controller of defense accounts or principal controllers. Most of you would be aware of PCDA pension, because that is an PCDA pension only handles pension. It does not have any other activity. But other controllers, apart from not handling the functional area, handle everything, like financial advice, they would do audit, they would do payment, accounting, everything. So we have a huge set. Similarly, for the Jawans, there are 46 regiments in the army. Now these 46 regiments have 46 regimental centers. We have a pay account office with each of the regimental centers. We are co-located so that Air Force maintain their own pay and accounts. So we have the Naval Pay Office for the Navy and we have the AFCO, which is for the Air Force. Now, I will tell you a little more about how we are placed in the ministry before I come and dwell in detail with the PCDA pension and SPARSH. Now, this is the role which we do as a department. We are also there in the Ministry of Defense as Secretary Defense Finance or FADS, the post which she mentioned I was holding. As an FADS, I'm the financial advisor, or I'm giving advice to the Raksha Mantri and to the 3 chiefs who normally get advice through their vice chiefs. Then we are financial advisor to the DRDO, that is the Secretary DRDO. We are spreading some advice to DGS Coast Guard, to the Border Road Organization. So it's a huge setup. Now, when we do a financial advice, it is as we are operating on behalf of the Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance initially used to render all financial advice themselves, but as the departments grew, the role of Defense Ministry grew. Ministry of Defense Finance was formed in 1975, and we started operating on their behalf exclusively for the defense. Apart from tendering financial advice, there are 2 more functions which we perform. One is budget, I'll come to that. And second is that we have to give concurrence to every policy which the Ministry of Defense makes. So whether you see the MACP policy or whether you see the ORA, whatever is being placed cannot be put in place till the finance has concurred it. Because we have to see from the financial point of view how much the government has, how much is the expenditure which we can meet. So all these have either gone through us at the stage of it's being made or at the stage of interpretation. So that's how defense finance is involved. Then all the procurements which happen in the defense finance secretary or the FADS as a part of the defense procurement board. There are 7 people in it, and the role of the defense finance is extremely important here, because we have to ensure that not only we get the right stuff for our defense forces, but we get them at the right cost so that they're not challenged at any point of time. Just for your information, the government of India has a budget of around 57 lakh crores, or maybe it must have gone up by another 1 lakh or 2 lakh crores, out of which 6 lakh crores is for the Ministry of Defense alone. Now this is the kind of budget our department has. Now out of the 6 lakh crore, 2 lakh crore goes only for defense pay and allowances. That is meant for the salaries of our men and the officers. Then 1,80,000 crore goes only for defense pension. It's a very huge figure. So out of the 6,80,000 crore which we get, 3,80,000 crore goes only for salaries as well as pension. you'll be surprised that what we spend for procurement for buying the Tejas or the Rafale is equal or little less than what we have for the pension. We spend more or less 1,80,000 crore for that also. Then 1 lakh crore goes for buying fuel, for buying ammunition, and a little amount, around 26,000 crore, goes for defense civilians, in which AFT is also included. Defense civilian normally includes the Defense Accounts Department, the Coast Guard, the Border Road, the MES, and so that is how the money is generated. There's something very interesting is that the expenditure which we incur for pension, out of that you also know that 12,000 crore yearly is spent on disability pension, out of which around 6,000 crore is on account of the legal commitments or charge expenditure, means which is sanctioned through the courts. So you should all know that how much you are contributing to the expenditure. So that is around 6,000 crore, nearly half of the expenditure which is done through charge expenditure. Here I would like to explain why, when you are dealing with the cases and fighting with the cases and putting up cases, you will hear that charge expenditure sanction is pending. Now, whenever there is a court case, the finance side will always insist on a charge expenditure sanction, which means that that money is going to go to the charge expenditure, not the Consolidated Fund of India. It's going to go and people will know that this is on account of a legal battle, not earlier. Now the government, that is the Ministry of Finance, watches this figure very, very closely. Now, why does that? And that is why when people say that they are not passing a bill because charge expenditure nahi aaya hai, so it may appear that it's just a delay tactic. It is basically that government wants the departments to account for it. Now there's a two-way implication. One is either somebody is not performing his job. That is why people have to go to the court. Second is that maybe there is some kind of thing happening, there's some leakages, some loopholes which are being used, and that is why they need to be strengthened. So government keeps a watch on this. As the charge expenditure increases, more and more you will find revisions take place, more new policies come. That is how things happen, right? So this is one area where the defense finance has a very, very important role, and we have a pan-India presence. I forgot to mention that we have around 11,062 offices, right from Partapur in Leh Ladakh to Campbell Gate, my office that's the day. Then we have people in Yuenglyong in Arunachal Pradesh. We have officers also in Chaube, and not Chaube, there's a location in Gujarat, Nalia. So we have our officers, wherever you find a defense officer, you'll find our officers too. So this is from the departmental side, the budgeting side. Now I come specifically to the office, the functional office of PCDA pension. Now, I'll give you a little story. This PCDA pension is located in IDAS, and it has around 1,200 people catering for it, because we are dealing with 33 lakh pensioners. You will be surprised to know that the government of India has 57 lakh pensioners. Out of which 33 lakhs are only for Ministry of Defense, balance as civilians. Now, this 33 lakhs, if I divide, 26 lakhs are for the Army, 2 lakhs for the Navy, 1.5 lakh for the Air Force, and balance 7 lakh for defense civilian. That is the breakup. And this includes 10 lakh of family pensioners also. This category. Now, in earlier, before the fourth pay commission came into play, that is in 86, pension was a very paltry sum, and there was not much increase in pension. As a result, the pension used to be dealt totally by PCDA pension, and there used to be two dispersing officer sets. One is the DPO, and second used to be your the treasuries. Once the banks got nationalized, then it was decided by the government in 78 that let us ask the banks to be one of the agency to disperse these kind of pensions. So pensions started getting dispersed through the banks. As with fifth pay commission, sixth pay commission, when it was realized that there was a need to look after our veterans and to pay them well, pensions started increasing. And that is the time the banks started getting more and more responsibility. So the pension sanctioning authority, that is the PCDA, they started giving more responsibility to the pension disbursing authority, that is the bank. That means the bank, apart from releasing payment, also started doing calculations. They started calculating. That is why many times you people give reference to circulars which have been issued, on which the banks have either done an erroneous calculation or something like that. So then, slowly and steadily, 40 years passed, and we realized that the banks started maintaining data. A lot of things happened, like in a lifespan of an individual. Sometimes he remarries, sometimes somebody passes away. There's some addition in the family. So all that data, the banks started getting that data at their end, and they are supposed to pass it on to PCDA pension. But because the technology was not that much, they became a repository of large amount of information which was not available with PCDA pension. So we found that they became the centers of sanctioning pension. They were like, though they were not the sanctioning authority, but they had a major role to play in disbursing pension. Now, a lot of complaints started coming down about how it was being mismanaged and how unauthorized people were getting pension through the banks. So, in the 17-18 budget of the Government of India, the present Finance Minister announced that now that we are fully computerized and computerization is the way to go, we must switch over to a system of centralized, where we maintain a centralized account of everyone's pension. So that is how SPARSH was born. So SPARSH is nothing but a system for pension administration. That is how the acronym SPARSH has come. System for pension administration, Raksha. So what basically happened? The desegregation which happened in 1975 and 78, the data which got desegregated, we brought together again, so that at one place the data of all the individuals is available, so that whenever we are dispersing pension, we can take immediate action. So that is how SPARSH came into play. Now, so you must understand that SPARSH is nothing but what information was available in the banks was brought on the platform along with what was available with PCDA pension and the record office. And so when we had this kind of data, so in 2018 we started SPARSH. 2020 onwards, whoever retired came straight on SPARSH. Now the people who were earlier, the people who were the legacy, now that data had to be brought on SPARSH. That is what we call migration. When you say he has migrated to SPARSH, means from the banking data, he has moved to the SPARSH. That means his data which was now disaggregated has now come on SPARSH. Now, what has happened that when we had that, and that was now 2021, I had already taken over as FATS at that point of time. So it was thought that now we have all this data available with us. Why don't we create a SPARSH portal? Otherwise, suppose we had not created a SPARSH portal, nothing was going to change for everyone. You would continue to get your pension through the same bank. The only thing, the back end was changing. But it was thought that now that we have a good back end and kind of data is available with us, we should utilize it to make it available to the beneficiary so that he can check for himself whether the data which is available at our end and the data of the 60-year-old, for 40-year-old, 50-year-old, whether it's correct or not. When we started putting that data, we realized that there was a huge discrepancy, and that is where the huge hue and cry against SPARSH came. People did not want SPARSH, but they did not realize that SPARSH is nothing, but you will continue to get your pension through the same bank. Only thing, instead of the bank maintaining your account, the SPARSH is now maintaining. I mean that your data is now with the. So maximum problem arose because the data which the banks were maintaining, they did not maintain it well. And they did not feel the need because they were being paid to do this job. This was not their primary job. Whereas now when the PCDA pension will take on, once the data is purified and migrated, the result would be phenomenal. But yes, it will take time because any big software which gave us to 33 lakh people cannot do full justice to start with. There's many things which will happen in that. Many a time, I remember Madam mentioning to me one day that we give stay stay order we give to stay some recovery from pension. It does not take place. Why it does not take place? Because SPARSH runs with a cycle. On 18th or 19th of every month, the pension cycle is run. So in case the order which we pass does not get uploaded before that or does not reach PCDA pension before that, by then the old cycle has run. So, but the PCDAs are trying to work that out. They are trying to create a legal module. Legal module would be that it would have an overriding power even on that 18-19 cycle. That if there is a court order, they should be able to override that and implement that. But that's still a work in progress. So the point I'm trying to make is that with SPARSH, what has actually happened is people have the visibility to know what is wrong with their document, which otherwise they would have discovered only when either they would have passed away or their spouses. Many times I have seen people coming and telling us that my wife's name is wrong. Yes, it is wrong because it was wrong in the banks. It was wrong somewhere else. Because these are data which is populated on the by migrating. So and human errors will creep in. So you have been given an opportunity to do it. So the point which is here is that SPARSH is for the benefit of everyone and it is for them to bring the visibility. Now, when we sit in AFT, we only see the wrong side of SPARSH. We come to know that this has not happened, we have not, wife's name is not there, what kind of complaints come. But you must see the truths which are not in the knowledge of people. I mean, we are two different things. So there are so many beneficiaries who are benefited out of this. In fact, when we submitted the figures in the parliament, the money which went in favor of the individual because of the SPARSH was much more than what was recovered because of SPARSH. And one thing which happened with SPARSH was that when we were trying to migrate people, we realized that there were 90,000 ghost entries. People who were being paid by the bank who did not exist. So so as a result, whatever we saved from these individuals is what we have spent in making this. Now, another thing I'd like to say that there was a lot of hue and cry that we were shifting. There's a trust deficit always between finance and executive, and they felt we were doing it because we wanted to save money and just to cut short the expenditure which we have to pay to the banks to make the payment. It is not that. Currently, we pay much more. And why we pay much more is because while the back end is under our control, the front end has to be dealt with. There are people who are illiterate, who do not know how to use the computer. So what we have done is, we have the common service centers. You people must be aware of the common service centers. All 6 lakh of them have been made SPARSH centers. They are our SPARSH centers. All the banks are our SPARSH centers. So anyone who has any problem about SPARSH can, apart from approaching the SPARSH centers which have been made by the bank, can approach these people. Their DLC, that is their digital life certificate. All these SPARSH the centers, the CSCs, the banks, and the Zilla Sainik boards are being paid by the CGTA for doing this job. So if anyone, I would like you to spread this, if any of our beneficiaries is suffering and that cannot open the SPARSH app or something, they are having SPARSH centers. The outreach is phenomenal. Even the Postmaster Generals have opened up their postmaster offices for this purpose. So the money which we are spending now in giving the right kind of benefit through SPARSH is much more than what we were spending earlier. But the interest of the government is welfare. So that is why we don't mind spending more, so that the right benefit reaches the beneficiary at the right time. So this is in short what SPARSH is all about. So I thought I'd just spend some time and share with you. And thank you so much for listening. And this is, in brief, and I hope I've not crossed the time which I was given. Thank you very much.